Book 41 of 2020 was The Yellow Wallpaper and Other Stories by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I was astounded by the progressive feminist commentary that was in this book of 19th century women. I was really surprised because Charlotte Gilman is just so observant and so switched on, and I didn't think that my feminism and how I feel about being a woman would be reflected in 19th century literature. I just didn't think that, like, the time span of the difference, I didn't expect there to be women like me in the 19th century, because it wasn't, it was frowned upon, it wasn't really allowed, it was kind of not deemed to be right and the rest of it. But they obviously existed. Like, it was obviously like I'm not a product of my time. People in the past were also like me, and so it kind of made me feel good about myself, because I was like, I'm not a weirdo. Like, there are plenty of other women that are like me. I just don't see very many of them. As you know, these women didn't either. In The Yellow Wallpaper, there's kind of a woman presented in hyperbole, because she is being used as a kind of like allegory for the oppression that women felt in response to kind of men and kind of patriarchal medicine. And it's almost like a woman's individualism was stifled by the expectations of society, and men felt that a woman behaving in a way that a feminist would behave meant that she was mentally unwell and therefore needed caring for, but that the way that they suggested that she be cared for actually made her worse. And what I was really impressed with was that Gilman has an acute awareness of what makes mental illness better and what makes it worse. And we think that we have a more advanced understanding of mental illness in today's society, and that we know more about what makes you better and what makes you worse. But she already knew it. Like, she's literally talking about things that people prescribe now, like, getting outside and having something to live for and having some purpose. And instead, what the men are saying is that she must stay in this room on her own, isolated for long lengths of time. Well, of course she's going to go crazy. Like, anybody would go crazy in that situation. So it was very interesting that this was used as a kind of symbol to represent that human suffrage of women, because they're coerced against their better interests. They know what's good for them, but they are told that they don't know what's good for them, and they should do something else, and that actually makes them worse, and they just kind of are then passive and accept it because they don't have any other choice. So it was kind of, symbolic of that, and I really enjoyed that representation, because this is obviously just a symbol in a story. You have to kind of read between the lines to kind of get this out of it. I also adored, in the other stories, the portrayal of women, because there was lots of different women, and they were independent and they were unmarried, and they loved housework, and they enjoyed the company of lovers, and they didn't go along with that kind of accepted domicility of, the martyred housewife, someone who loves housework, who wants to get the slippers for her husband as soon as he comes home from work. And there's nothing wrong with being like that. There's nothing wrong with that behaviour as a woman, but as long as you've got the choice to whether you like housework or not, the choice to whether you want a husband or not. Feminism is about choice. It's not about saying what's right and wrong about a woman. It's about having the choice to be who you are as an individual, which men are allowed to be. They're allowed to be whoever they want. Although you could question that, because, are men really allowed to be how they want? Because the feminine parts of men's personalities are usually, criticised, so maybe not. Society's not very nice to anybody, really, is it? I also liked as well that her feminist ideals are not polarised, so it's not like, some feminists would, so the ones that have the bad reputation are the ones that kind of discount marriage and discount romantic relationships, and, think that you know, you don't want to be in a relationship because you'll be dominated and the patriarchy will make you suffer and whatever. She doesn't present it like that. You know, she suggests that romantic relationships are good and you do want to have an attachment and you do want to get married if that's your choice. But what you've got to make sure, if that is your choice, is that you find a strong man, somebody who will allow you to be independent, somebody who will respect you, will respect your ideas and who you are as a person and love you for who you are, and not try to change you into what's the standard female, in terms of like the housewife kind of version. But you can only do that with a strong man, and Charlotte Gilman presents strong men in her stories as well. So I thought that that was really nice because, you know, feminism gets criticised because there's a lack of understanding of what feminism is. You know, feminism is about choice, about having a right to equality and having a right to be who you are and not be made to feel less of because of it. You know, because I'm an independent female with ideas, why should I be felt, you know, made to feel like I'm less than somebody who would have your tea on the table at home? You know, that like that's not me, that's not who I am. And I respect people that are like that, but that's not for me. And similarly, that doesn't mean that I don't want a romantic relationship. I do, but I want to be in a relationship with someone who respects me and respects me as being independent. Remember, I used to be I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to like say bits but not, you know, completely reveal my aching heart. But I liked somebody and I realised very quickly that this person, if I was to have a relationship with them, would want me to be in that female role of staying at home with children and, you know, doing domestic chores and things like that. And that's not my idea of a romantic relationship. Like, my idea of a romantic relationship is to be two equal people, to be two fully functioning individuals that partner together and work equally. And there's a negotiation between who does what tasks, and there's a negotiation of who works and who doesn't, and there's a choice there, and it's not imposed on because of societal norms. So I loved this book because I felt like I was reading my own thoughts, and I was thankful that there were people like Charlotte Perkins Gilman who were true to themselves and had integrity and fought for women's rights, because that allows me now to live with freedom, which I don't think I would be able to have if society hadn't been a little bit more accepting of women that are independent and, you know, are different to what's considered the norm. So for that reason, I really enjoyed reading. I mean, the stories are not like amazing, they're not like wonderfully interesting. I mean, the Yellow Wallpaper is quite good. The other stories, I mean, there's a couple of other stories that were okay, but it's more the kind of social commentary and the political side of it that I really enjoyed, as I do with most classics, and feeling that there were people like me back then as well. So that was like really nice. So yeah, I would recommend a listen, because I listened to this one on audio.